Right, we're at the start of a new week, 15th of July today, so let's have a little look at what to be looking out for this week. We're quite a bit into, well, we're just at the sort of the start, if you like, of earnings season out in the States, and I think that's likely to have a big implication on the markets this week. Here we are with US stocks, about sort of 0.5% now as I'm talking, away from those highs from May. Amazing how it's come all the way back up again. But here we are, 0.5% away, right back up to those highs. We've got Ben Bernanke talking this week. So it's quite big, actually, in a number of things that we've got going on, with earnings thrown into the mix as well. I'm expecting quite a volatile week for stocks there, and I think it's going to increase a lot of the volatility there around some of those data points. So keep an eye out on some of those US earning releases. I know we've got Citigroup today, but keep an eye out. Websites like earnings.com, very good for giving that sort of information about what's coming out, what stocks are reporting out in the States. Only 6% of stocks in the on the S&P 500 have reported so far, so it's going to be a really big week for all of that as we really get into that earnings season as we move into the mid part of July. Otherwise, news-wise, obviously, last week we had some big changes in direction. A lot of those currency markets there, particularly after those statements there and over in the US. But what about this week to be looking out for? Well, this week we've got some core retail sales out today at 1:30. That's really the big data point. And I guess really what we're looking for out in the States there is to see if we can get those better job data we've been having in non-farm payroll over the last several months, those upward revisions as well. See if that's going to translate into better spending. Are we going to actually feel better and actually go out and spend some money? Consumer sentiment on Friday was a little bit lower than expectations, which is perhaps a bit of a surprise given that the job data has been moving along quite well. But it just goes to show that there's not all feeling brilliantly over in the US economy. So really all eyes are on retail sales today. That's 1:30 UK time to see if we're going to translate that employment data into actual spending to really get that growth pushing forward in the States there. So that's going to be quite a fascinating bit of data there. What I'm going to do is look at Forex Factory here. I'm just going to run through and just quickly put in a little filter here because I only want to be looking at the high impact data points for so far. So let's just bring that data filter in there. So today, big massive data there, just at 1:30 there. Tuesday, consumer price index there, so that's the real main inflationary data there for the UK, and we've got it later on, CPI out in the US as well at 1:30. So inflation wise, quite big. Big data number as well, inflation. We're always looking about that as in terms of the effect of sales on prices and so on. So that's going to be quite important, as along with economic sentiment there in the ZEW1 in Germany. So it's quite a bit actually out tomorrow. But I think what we're really looking out for this week, the major points there will be Bernanke talking on Wednesday, and Bernanke then also talking on Thursday as well. So a couple of the major points there. So really keep your pencils sharpened at 3 o'clock on Wednesday and Thursday. Pretty light on Friday. But Bernanke has been throwing a few curveballs in there recently. A lot of talk about quantitative easing, tapering. So that's going to be very much the forefront of people's minds when they're listening to and analysing what Ben Bernanke has to say. So that's Wednesday, 3 o'clock. Thursday, 3 o'clock as well. So that's going to be very, very important as that. I'd encourage people not to be placing trades right on those times of the day. The other thing to just be aware of is at 9:30 on Wednesday, to do with the votes that we've been having over in the MPC in the UK about interest rates and asset purchasing. So asset purchasing is that quantitative easing there, buying bonds and so on. And then, of course, we've got the official bank rate votes as well. Quite interesting. Not really expecting much of a change, really, if anything, on the way in which we've been voting for interest rate changes in the UK. But we have seen a little bit of a change here for asset purchasing. Of course, as things are just improving a little bit on the global economies there, suddenly we're seeing, instead of 3 people wanting to increase the amount of bond asset purchasing, suddenly it's now expecting to be just 2 people out of the 9 on the Monetary Policy Committee looking to increase that. So looking at perhaps a little bit more bullish there as far as the economy goes into they're looking at Wednesday 9:30. So whilst there's not huge numbers of major economic data this week, there are some pretty important points. Anything to do with interest rates, to do with MPC, is going to be important. And then, of course, anything Bernanke says is going to be sort of looked at with a fine-tooth comb. So be very, very important with check off your data points there. Look at your economic calendars. It's going to be an interesting week.
If you would like more information about trading the right way, Trend Signal is giving you the opportunity to see and hear about its services live at a free online seminar. Take a look at the Trend Signal website for the latest events and to book your free place.